Good evening, everyone. Peggy here. No, my name is not Vera. It's not even very Vera, but I'm going to do a shout out tonight to Vera Stewart. She has a wonderful show on television and she has other platforms as well. You should check her out one of these days. The reason I'm giving her a shout out is because several years ago, when I was watching her television program, I just started watching it and she had a giveaway or a contest for a giveaway for one of her guests who was on, who was starting a mail order pastry business, and she needed to test out the packaging to make sure that it was sufficient and kept the products from getting smashed and stay fresh during shipment. And I won one, and with it came one of Vera's cooking aprons. So it's kind of inspired by this, and I've actually got some on order with my logo on it. So when that comes in, I will show you what those look like. So anyway, shout out to the Very Vera Show and Vera Stewart. She makes some really fabulous things. She does a lot of Southern cooking. I'm not sure if she considers it low country cooking. She's actually in the Augusta, Georgia area. Usually low country is considered more like South Carolina, I believe, which is where my family is actually from originally. Don't know much about my family because that's my dad's side, and my grandfather kind of left this state under mysterious circumstances, shall we say. Never really heard the true story, and on Ancestry I've been trying to do some digging to find out exactly what happened. So far, haven't found it. I have connected with a few relatives who still live out there, none of whom actually knew my grandfather because he left South Carolina somewhere between 1900 and 1905, so there's not really anyone still alive who would have known him. And no one seems to know any of the family, quote, skeletons. What they do know is that his name doesn't appear in anybody's obituaries after that time. There's no family pictures of him. So probably the rumors I heard are actually true. I won't share the rumors on here because they are actually just that, rumors. I haven't been able to substantiate anything. So anyway, there are a few skeletons in that part of the family closet. Sorry, I have a new mini tripod that I'm trying out here on the table, and the challenge here is that the legs on this don't extend all the way flat, and when I put my phone on landscape, then it kind of overweights this one side, so I need to figure out a way to kind of deal with that. So I think for now what I'm going to do is I'm going to loosen it up here and go ahead and turn it back up to, oh, I'm sorry, that was actually on portrait. I'm going to turn it back up to landscape so that it's not weighting down one side more than the other. And we'll just back it up a little bit. So there we go. All right. So anyway, what was I saying? Vera Stewart. Seems to be a very nice lady. I haven't met her personally. She has a great show. Check her out. So anyway, what are we going to talk about tonight? I think I'm going to continue some of our discussions about food safety, handling of foods, making sure that you cook them to the proper temperatures, all of that. And I actually have a chart that I pulled off of the federal government's website for safe storage and safe handling of food products, and that is in a document format that you will find at the bottom of the screen as an attachment. So, or however it does. I've not attached a document yet, so I'm probably saying the wrong thing as far as how it gets on there. But anyway, you will find some food handling, safety storage, and those kinds of things that comes from the Food and Drug Administration, so that it's what their current standards are. So gives you information about all the types of products, what the internal temperatures should be in order to be considered safe, and as far as storage, what temperature you need to store things at and how they need to be stored. So check those out. Very good information on there. So we talked last time about not cross-contaminating things, making sure that you're changing knives if you're using particularly raw meats. An important thing that a lot of people perhaps are not really aware of is that fruits and vegetables either grow in the ground, on the ground, have insecticides or whatever sprayed on them if they are grown on bushes or trees, and it's really important that you get those off before you start using them. And you actually want to make sure that you get them off before you start cutting them, because anything that's on the skin or the exterior of the product, as soon as you run the knife right through it, it takes it from the outside and puts it right into the middle of whatever it is you're doing. So if it's something that's going to be served cold or totally uncooked, like watermelons, tomatoes, when you're putting them on you're slicing them for a sandwich or whatever, you want to make sure that you get any contaminants off before you start slicing. Very important thing. You often don't see that in any kind of information that you pick up out there. Like I said last time, I used to work for the State Department of Health, and of course our food scientists have all kinds of horror stories that they can share, none of which I'll share on here. So anyway, it's very important. Every year or so you start hearing about recalls of things, usually some sort of fruit or vegetable, occasionally meat. They may have salmonella or listeria or one of those kinds of things. One of the things that happened several years ago was regarding lettuce, and particularly romaine lettuce. The reason why any lettuce is susceptible to the problems is because it grows in layers, and the layers aren't like sealed down. It's not covered in a skin like potatoes are, bananas. So the contaminants can get between the layers, which is why lettuce, you need to make sure you pull it apart, rinse it off, and it's really better to use some sort of vegetable cleaner. You can get it in the store. It's usually right there in the produce department. Just spray it on there, and then kind of rinse it off, rub it a little bit, let it sit in a strainer, rinse it that way. Some things you should not actually rinse off until you're ready to use them. Of course, it's a good idea, like if you can buy lettuce that's already pre-washed, and it will tell you that on the package. If it's already been pre-washed, you should not have to worry about washing it again. It doesn't hurt to rinse it off, however. You never know if the person who was packaging it actually followed all the correct safety procedures. Every once in a while, people get in a hurry, they're getting behind on their job, and so they start taking shortcuts, and nobody knows that they didn't really do it the right way. So you can't always be 100% certain that everything was done the proper way it's supposed to be, but people are people. Sometimes they take shortcuts, and sometimes they frankly just misunderstood how they're supposed to do something. So it never hurts for you to make sure that you take care of it yourself. You don't hear about millions of people dying from that kind of stuff every year, but you don't want to be the person who gets sick from it, because getting sick from it, I'm sure, is not fun. I've never had it happen myself. I do know someone that did happen to. Someone I worked with, her mother actually died from mad cow disease. From, I think it was beef that had come in from another country that just crossed our borders, that we have free trade with, and normally is not a problem. They didn't realize that there was a problem in that particular farm. By the time they found out there was, things had already been sold. They did do a recall, but her mom had actually purchased some of it, and she started showing symptoms, and she died fairly quickly from extremely fast dementia. And my friend told the doctors they wanted an autopsy done because she'd started hearing the stories about mad cow disease, and the symptoms were exactly what happened to her mom. So she asked for an autopsy, and they found that yes, in fact, she did have mad cow disease. And I kept telling my friend that she was the crazy one. But no, that didn't happen. Found out that she was absolutely right. So it does happen. So just, sometimes you gotta be the person who's responsible for your own kinds of things. Vegetables, again, before you peel them, slice them, you want to make sure that you at least rinse them off. Best to use a little bit of veggie wash with them and then do that. So those are the main things. You know, I know I put a tip out there last time about looking at spending a little extra money on your faucet, particularly in your kitchen, and getting the kind that's either motion activated or you tap it instead of having to turn the handles to turn the water on and off. It's really nice because it doesn't have to be in contaminants. You know, you can just be making spaghetti sauce and you get some on your hands and you want to go rinse it off, and you don't have to get the spaghetti sauce on the faucet. Just tap it with your wrist and there you go. Take care of everything. They're really wonderful. I really recommend them. I don't get any money from those companies, but those are my tips for today. Thank you. Have a great day.